Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight as we continue to follow this developing storm.
Well, of course, round 2 is underway. We have live team coverage of the storm, keeping you up to date, whether you need to travel or just plan to stay home. Let's go straight to Belle to start.
Can we leave? Can we travel? That would be good. Okay, let's talk about what's happening. At times, the snow is coming down sideways. The wind's really playing a factor in this second round, that's for sure. Those winds have been picking up throughout the day. Let's take a look at what is going on with this storm. As you can see, it is snowing from Sioux Falls all the way to Rapid City and then all the way to the east to Green Bay and beyond. So this is a very large storm with severe thunderstorms and large thunderstorms south of Chicago. All of this feeding into the storm along with a lot of dynamics. Very warm air to our south, very cold air to our north. So you can see the bands that have been developing throughout the day. Those will continue, and at times the visibility has been dropping to less than a half a mile because of the snow coming down and also because of the winds picking up this very light snow and blowing and drifting it around. So here are the current visibilities, less than a mile in many portions of southern Minnesota, where in some areas, as we'll tell you, the roads are now closed and they are not advising travel. In the metro, depending on where you are, you can see the visibility is less than a half a mile there in Buffalo, but 2 miles at MSP, so a little bit better than it was last hour. Here is your planner for this evening. You can see temperatures will continue to tumble. That's going to assure that this snow is going to continue to be light and fluffy and moving through the region quickly from west to east, that's for sure. All right, we'll talk more about totals and also the timing of the storm, but now we're going to toss it down to Sammy, who is in Owatonna, has been there throughout the day.
That's right. We're by a quick trip nearby that town, and there's been a lot of snow, a lot of wind, and a lot of drivers just trying to get out of those driving conditions. Here at this quick trip, you can see it's very busy, and the spaces are filling up very fast. Now, at 5 p.m., in the background of my shot, we showed you a trucker who was doing some kind of quirky exercises. We weren't exactly sure what they were, but I decided to find out for you all. This is Josh. He is doing meteor spitting, which is some kind of flow exercise, and he says that it keeps his stress levels down and it keeps him warm even in freezing temperatures like this. Now, if you're not Josh, it's probably pretty difficult to keep your spirits high in a snowstorm like this. I'm sure it was much easier a little bit earlier on in the day. And take a look at how quickly those conditions change throughout the day. We have a story for you tonight. Keith Rockwell's morning drive wasn't too bad.
It's just time to relax and rest up.
We talked to Keith around 11 when his spirits were still high.
It's pretty mild right now. We'll see what happens after that.
And an hour later,
I'd rather be home.
he had a different outlook.
Looks like it's gonna get pretty nasty.
He and other truckers say this is bad.
Sucks. It's cold. My dogs don't like it. My wife don't like it.
Sure, they've seen a blizzard or two, but this change was sudden.
Bad winter storms, yes, but not just a snap of the fingers, no.
About noon is when the snow started falling again. Yeah.
Kristen Saylor oversees Steele County's emergency management. She says all responders are ready to help tonight.
Making sure that they have all the resources that they need and prepping for sheltering at the armory.
Some drivers tell us they'll go as far as they can in the weather.
We've hit some bad spots.
Others say parking lots will be home for the night.
The weather here can change in a heartbeat.
So Josh is actually one of those truckers who will be staying at this quick trip tonight. But of course, we want to just emphasize how dangerous these roads can be. Yes, you can have a lot of fun in conditions like this, but you need to be safe as well. There have been really big gusts, a lot of snow, and we definitely want you to be careful out on those roads. We have Lou that's out with Mobile 11 right now. Lou, how is it looking in the metro?
Well, thanks, Sammy. We actually decided to go a little bit outside of the 494, 694 loop. So we are on I-94 right now in Maple Grove. And I tell you what, as soon as you get just outside of the core metro, those wind gusts are a lot more noticeable. We were following a semi truck that began to fishtail a little bit, and we think it was mostly because of the wind gusts. And of course, it is a little bit slippery. The roads overall are okay, and the big factor here is that the roads are pretty empty. It's a pretty quiet rush hour commute, and that is a good thing. Now, when we were over on the other side of the metro, right at 494, 694, 94, right on the Cloverleaf there was a semi-truck that went off the road. There was another vehicle that fishtailed. That ended up closing down that intersection. So that was the only real problem that we encountered. And trust me, we've been all over the metro now, 694, 494, 94, and 169. It's not as bad as it could be, but of course, keep an eye on it. It could get worse. So we're going to continue our team coverage now with Devon Roming. He's at the airport talking to passengers. Devon, I had some family members that had a flight canceled. It must be a tense situation for some people there.
That's absolutely correct, Lou. Things have been pretty quiet here at MSP for the most part. One person I was speaking with said it's almost reminiscent of the early days of the pandemic when it was kind of a ghost town around here. This as nearly 400 flights have been canceled today and nearly a dozen delayed. Now, airport leaders say that's more than 50% of the operations that occur during a typical day here at MSP. This is video from earlier this evening as MSP has a crew of more than 100 people working nonstop to keep the runways clear in hopes of keeping flights moving. But of course, this is all weather permitting. Passengers we've spoken with are being issued travel waivers for canceled flights, including Will Law, who was hoping to catch a Delta flight to Denver to spend some time with his son.
They offered me full credit on the ticket to use, on a future flight and or just rebooking. And since I'm Diamond, they did automatically rebook me on the, next available thing, but that is sadly a long ways off.
Now, if your flight is canceled, airport officials want you to do exactly what Will just did. Check with the airline that you're flying with to see if there are any travel waivers available, because they are issuing those to people who may be in need. Now, that's the latest from here at MSP. We'll send it back to the studio to Chris Harapsky at the live desk.
Yeah, thank you, Devon. Hey, been a number of dangerous spinouts and crashes on the roads today. We've showed you them in earlier newscasts, but this one has to be the strangest. About 1:30 this afternoon, Southwest Metro, 169 and Pioneer Trail. A truck towing a fish house is going the wrong way on the 169 highway bridge in this weather. The truck then attempts to do a U-turn right here to get off the highway and come back on the off-ramp, if you will, stopping traffic there. Then he finds himself in a little bit of a pursuit with police here at the end of the video. You might just want to get off the road there, man. It's unclear what was happening here. We got a call into Eden Prairie Police trying to figure this out. Wild, right? Overall, right now, very few crashes and spinouts reported in the Twin Cities, though. Just 6 in the area, and in a storm like this, that's actually really, really low. Some new reported roads closed here in the Southwest Metro, though. I-90 from Worthington over to the Dakotas to Sioux Falls there is closed, and a couple of these other state roads, Minnesota 30, closed right now. No advised travel anywhere in the southwest section of the state at this point. Guys, back to you.
All right, the video made my heart stop. Thank you, Chris. And here's an example of why it's not a good idea to try to pass snow plows. You can see the plow there that is circled in the upper right-hand part of your screen. A FedEx truck moves over into the left lane trying to pass, got clipped by a semi. Truck ends up turned around, and as this goes on, it ends up completely turned around, facing the reverse direction on the highway.
Honestly, you are better off staying behind that snowplow far enough back that you're out of that snow cloud when they kick the snow up. And that's safer because you have the traction, you have the clear lane, and then you're not running the risk of accidentally hitting a snowplow, someone that you can't see in the cloud, or even the blades underneath the snowplow.
Another way to prevent accidents like these, make sure you're not following too closely so that you have plenty of room to stop should your brakes not track initially.
We also want to remind you, Minneapolis has opened 5 parking lots that will be open to the public through next Tuesday. Vineland Place, Salvation Army, Basilica, Lynn Lake, and at the Farmers Market. That's about 1,600 parking spaces in all. And over in St. Paul, 6,000 spaces are available. That's split between 8 different ramps shown here on your screen. You can find more information about both cities' snow plans on their websites.